We're live. I believe we are live. Yay. Oh, 2 minutes late. Sorry, guys. I was trying to be here at 11:11 just to be fun. But we're here. Hello, guys. Welcome to your 11:11 update. This is not the Jedi Mind hack that I was going to share today, but I figured since we are of the time, it is a very important energy portal that we're in today. For those of you guys who follow, the energetic streams of change, we've got the 8-8, which is like the Lionsgate portal, and the 11-11 is pretty profound because if you are a numerology geek, which I am not, but I do like having it as one of my tools in my toolbox. I utilize the numerology to look at like what the numbers mean. And so people, all over the internet are like, today, make a wish. It's your manifestation day today. But how many times do you hear that? Right? And what you have to understand is that we are free slaves, which means that we all live in a golden cage or we have golden handcuffs, and we are working towards becoming sovereign, free beings. And we are told that we create our own reality. We are told that we have free will. We are told that we have free speech. And so I'm wearing my America colors today because I happen to live here. And it is also Veterans Day. So any of you out there that are veterans, thank you for your service. We are those of us who did not choose to go off and fight for the freedom that you were fighting for. We appreciate your service. And I will tell you a quick story this morning. My son and I were making a little Starbucks run, and we go to our local grocery store that has like a restaurant in it, and it's packed, and there's like hundreds of old timers, like all these veterans sitting around telling war stories. My son is obsessed with World War II. So of course we had to go and talk to everyone. And it was like their noblest moments, right? And they were talking about their stories. And my heart hurt for them because they have no idea that they were part of a huge experiment that has literally gone so wrong, right? Many of you guys do not know the purpose of the American experiment, because that's what it was. Those of you who live in the other parts of the world, Europe and Australia and all these other places. Australia, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You were the first ones. But America was an experiment. And America, if you look at the United States of America, right, in the middle, you'll see the USA. The USA will be found in the middle of the word Jerusalem. And so the experiment was to create a new Jerusalem. And not many of you may know this, but there are central places in the US that are actually linked with places in different parts of the world, like Egypt and Houston, Texas. What? Right? Egypt and Nevada. And there are sites, there are gateways, there are portals. And so the US, and again, this truth is all starting to come out, as you can never withhold truth for too long. It's all coming out that a lot of the monuments and the pyramids and the things that were actually in the US were all buried or removed, because they wanted to create this idea of, think about everybody who came to America. They all had one intention, and that was to be free. This is the experiment of freedom. And if we look back before 1920, if we look at the World's Fair in 1900, the world looked very different, very different. There was better technology. It was not horse and buggy, people. It was technology. It was beautiful architecture. All you have to do is go a little bit back into the encyclopedia days and dig a little bit, and you realize that around 1900, after Houdini, the idea of Houdini, right? That's the experiment. is the Houdini experiment, was let us get rid of all remembrances of free energy, free technology, unity. Let's get rid of Eastern medicine. Let us put in Western medicine. Let us take them back down to bare bones and have them have to rebuild all things except for some basic monuments that were left. And let's see if they can actually awaken in this so-called ascension that Mother Earth is going through, and not only that, but we're going to change the textbooks. We're going to change the school information. We're going to take some fundamental things out of education that would help them be free thinkers, and we want to turn them into workers. And again, it was an experiment, but I think that there was an agenda going on underneath, just like usually is going on with this game of the simulation. But those of us who find ourselves in the U.S., we have our food here is completely banned and illegal, probably in your country. The food that we are given at the grocery store. You know, Bill Gates himself is inventing fruits and putting them in our grocery stores, and they don't even look like fruit, but you know. And then organic food is very expensive here, you know, and it is hard to get. And the design of how Mother Earth and the human body work together is just divine perfection, because she knows what we need so she can grow what we need, because we are her children. And so, of course, then when the local farmers are removed and corporations come in, they do not grow the weather of the food, they grow the mass production of the fruit. So if strawberries are out of season, no problem. We can paint something that looks like a strawberry red, and we can sell it to the American people. And this is the experiment that we've been under. So if you find yourself a sensitive empath or a healer or a light worker in the US, you guys are badasses, because we have had to wake up with extra poisoning. Now, I'm not saying that there's the other places in the world don't have their own barriers and handcuffs and jail cells, but it's made out of different textures, okay? Because what we deal with is the idea that we have more freedom. We have less like our healthcare is different. We actually have to pay for it. Things like that here. But you guys may have less freedom. You know, I noticed during COVID, it seemed like the UK had a lot less freedom than, like, say, certain places in the US. So it's not like better or worse. It's just different. But this is the experiment that they were going to try to create, like this new Jerusalem. Okay, but it was all based in this elite energy where, you know, Federal Reserve and all of this, and this is all coming out now. I mean, you can't be on TikTok or, you know, be on Instagram longer than like 5 minutes if you are anywhere of a free thinker and not see all of this truth coming out at you. And it can be overwhelming, and it can be a rabbit hole, but that is also something that you want to pay attention to, because at the end of the day, this part of the experiment is the most crucial, because 1-1 is an angel number, right? But then when it's compared with 1-1 and it's mirrored, well, 1 and 1 is 2, and 2 is the number of duality, and 2 is facing off 2. So this isn't necessarily a magical day of let's manifest all of our dreams today, because you're manifesting 24 hours a day regardless. There's no special day for it. You always are a free sovereign being. If you are not covered in dark spirits, you have maybe programs and hypnosis that you're under that make you believe that you're not free, but you are. And you can actually build your own matrix right here if you know how. So it's just like, imagine I'm like some super nerd and I'm tired of playing someone else's video games because it doesn't let me do all the things that I want to do. And so I'm like, well, hey, I know how to code. I know how to do this IT stuff. I'm just going to go build my own game. And this is where we are, people. It is time to remember that you are a code writer. You are a coder. You are the director, the actor, the editor, the producer. And what we have done, even those of us who feel like we are free thinkers, we have given away a lot of our free will because of the ease, because of the, the access, because of the flash, because of the indoctrination, because of the schooling that we had, because of the filters that were painted in Hollywood and in the collective industries of the corporations, and then obviously everything that fuels all of this, which is money. And this has been this great distraction this last 100 years. And we are waking up to new energy. And this day is what I would call the face off. This is your face off day where you sit in reflection. You don't make a wish, because wish is giving away your power. You're not here to make a wish. You're here to be the genie. You're here to be the wish, and you're here to be the wish granter. You are the me, myself, and I. You are a body, mind, and soul. You are God reflected down into a blueprint of the soul fragment that then manifested a physical body. You are the ultimate superhero. And when we buy in to hoping on one day a year where our dreams can come true, then we are under another illusion. Because yes, this is a very powerful, energetic day. And the reason why is because numerology writes the code of our existence. And I believe that even if you study numerology, it can trump the idea of even astrology, because astrology is all numbers. If you actually unpack it, if you unpack astrology, it's going to go back to numbers. It's going to go back to sacred geometry. It's going to go back to the roots and origins of creation. And so if we're going to study numerology on this day to be Jedi Masters, then we're going to actually look at duality squared, which means that this is actually a 4 energy today. And the 4 energy today is a box. So today is asking you, what box do you live in? Do you want to keep this box? So it's like you're at the airport, like me on a trip to Europe, and my bags are always too heavy because I don't know who I'm going to be. So I have to have options. I have to have shoes. Okay. And so I'm always overpacking, and it's always the shoes, right? So I have to empty my bag, and I have to leave something behind, or I have to get another bag. And this is what this day is asking you for. I have been gearing up my students for this in our classroom. Not that you have one day to decide, but this is the energy that you're going to be pushed into now, is to make a choice. What box do you want to live in? Now, how do you know what box you're choosing? If you go back to the Jedi Mind hack that I gave you when I explained what the force is the 4 elements squared, using the you, the observer, the neo, the non-emotional observer, the Christed you, the godly you that is animating yourself. You are going to create your own matrix, and the matrix means womb or box. Okay. And the box is the mother energy, the divine feminine energy. So this isn't about your masculine, divide and what's mine, and you're over there, and there's a war going on over there, and all of it. It is about, what kind of world do I want to live in? Because you're going to be asked that in a pressurized state over the next 3 months. And it's going to ask you, do you want to keep this? Do you want to keep doing that? Do you want to keep looking at that? Do you want to keep creating that? Do you want to keep living like that? Right? Or let's look at the reflection of the light, because it's like if light and dark are looking in the mirror at each other, like creepily, right? Like, okay, who are you? Who are we now? Who are you with all the darkness that you've survived? Who are you with all the darkness that you have discovered within and integrated it and turned it into wisdom and love and knowledge? Who are you now? Who is that light inside of you that never went out in your darkest times? Who is that you that stood up for someone else when you couldn't even stand up for yourself? Who is that you? So it is, who are you becoming, and who do you choose to be? Because today is an imprint. It's almost like today is the day that you get to go up and possibly have a pardon for your life sentence. If you can present yourself in a way where you say, I have learned from the darkness within myself, and I have integrated that pain into purpose. I have integrated that pain into passion. I have integrated that, pain into power, and this is how I'm going to use it. Okay, that's what today is. And so if you're thinking, oh, what do I want to manifest today? Well, it probably means that you are not actively living in that purpose yet. And so probably what you're going to manifest is the same box you had yesterday. And that box yesterday is someone who may be 1 foot in the matrix and 1 foot out. And I'll tell you, those are the shittiest relationships. Those wishy-washy, the in and out, the all or nothing type of energy that is not disciplined. It isn't consistent unless it needs something. And so if you were going to look at today like you are auditioning for your creator, if your creator was looking down on you today and you were auditioning what reality you were going to be put in this time next year, what would your behavior look like? What would you be demonstrating? What would your character look like? How have you been acting already today? Because when dark and light look at each other in the mirror, it's like, if you guys, I'm a movie buff, okay? I have deep cuts buried inside of me as far as nonsense knowledge of music and movies, because I think it's how I survive this space. But that scene in Neverending Story where Atreyu has to like walk past those two big busted winged sculptures. If you haven't seen the movie, what rock do you live under? But anyways, like it has to walk in to see how pure his heart is. How pure is your heart? And it has nothing to do with what happened to you as a child, because I could go to bats with you on childhood trauma and I can say, did it make you bitter or did it make you better? Did you want to heal other people so they wouldn't have to go through that? Or did you want other people to go through that because you went through that? Because that's going to be what is looking at each other in the mirror today. It is going to be, I want you to suffer because I suffered, or I don't want you to suffer because I suffered. Because one of those is the Christed heart, and the other one is going to get filed for the next round of the next Matrix camp. That's going to look more like Hunger Games. Serious, right? I've seen the timelines. I used to be a psychic and a medium and do all that kind of work, and I could pull that out of my hat at any time. But what we're looking at from psychic energy is we're looking at potentials, because there's no absolutes. Anything could change tomorrow. Your life path could change after this video. So nothing is an absolute. You always have a choice. So even if you say, I don't even know what this chick's talking about and she looks crazy, and you move on with your day, you still are going to be deciding something very intentional about your life in this energy. And usually when we have portal energy, it lasts anywhere between 3 to 10 days of just kind of like a radiation, like it's going to radiate out. Just like a full moon isn't one day, it usually lasts between 3 and 5 days, the energy of it. And this is going to be no different, because the portal, it takes a lot to open it up. So there's been contractions and expansions getting ready for this portal, and there will be contractions and expansions closing this portals. And those of you who have given birth, you know what I'm talking about here. It is a process to get ready, and it is a process to close. So that is going to be your next, basically the rest of your November is going to be kind of like this radiating ripple effect that you're going to be kind of slapped with the story of your own darkness, like a wave. And if you're not deeply buried into the sand, it might knock you over. Because manifesting one day a year or a couple of days a year is just another new age scam. It's a new age scam to keep you going, oh, well, I don't have to really worry about what I'm doing on manifesting until this day, when really it's like life reflection. So when you die and you leave your body, you go through what's called a life review. And the life review isn't like, oh, I had a coffee when I was 10. It is, because time is different as soon as you don't have nerve endings and you're not operating with gravity and density anymore. Time is very different, which means that you would live your entire reality. Not only would you relive your entire reality in form, but you would actually see what effect you created on every individual that came into your universe during that life path, and how everyone affected you pretty much in a few seconds. And you would witness how your anger impacted someone. You would witness how your own lack of self-love hurt your own body. Now, when you don't have nerve endings and you don't have the human emotions, you aren't going to process guilt and shame the same way. And so, thank goodness that we're in a non body state. We're back into the stream of source. We can look at everything through a heart centered space, and we can quickly resolve and integrate anything that wasn't in our highest form of love. And then we can make a choice of what direction we're going to go. Now, there are a lot of souls that get trapped here that are incarnating over and over again, who don't realize it, but when they're down here, they abandon their body so unintentionally that their soul, which is the blueprint of their being, their body is a manifestation of the soul. When they are abusive to the body, or they abandon the body, or the body gets taken by squatters such as underworld spirits or demonic spirits or ET beings or whatever programs get sucked away, then you don't even have your soul to go back to the light completely. So your spirit goes back to the light and your soul stays here, guys. What do you think you're doing here, incarnating over and over again? Your soul's been here, trapped. Okay, your spirit goes back to the light and goes like through more expansion and realization. May have other like experiences over here to get knowledge, and works with masters and becomes a master over here. And then it's like, okay, now we're ready to go back to earth and get our soul. So this is a reconnaissance mission, guys. You're on a reconnaissance mission. And I'm going to go deep into this tomorrow when I explain to you what our relationship is with bees. It just all comes back to Wu-Tang. When you understand like the relationship that we have with bees and the queen bee and the hive mind, and how everything is connected through the sensory smell. Hello, what did we lose in COVID? I'm going to go there tomorrow, and I'm going to explain how you are kept in this spider web for lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes. Now you, the conscious God spark that is you, is never trapped. But your unique thumbprint that makes you, your soul, could be here and could have been here for thousands of years. And you come down here and you go into your sleep state and you awaken with all your wisdom and all your grace. And you might then get sucked back into similar patterns. You might get sucked back into your astrology. You might get sucked back into family drama. And then you might know what you're supposed to do, but just not do it. And then you have to do it all again. And so most of the people that I have put under hypnosis or I have done channel sessions with have been at the same stuck point for like 3 to 5 lifetimes. They've gotten to the same level of spiritual awareness and they just do not embody it. They do not take it all the way. So it's days like today that I'm not going to scare you with some like end of the world thing, but this could be the day that you literally get your pardon and you get your soul back. Because if you can look at all the darkness that you have had within you, that you've had around you, that you've had done to you, that has channeled through you, and you can look at the grace and the self-love and the self-forgiveness and the self-awareness that has given you, and you can realize that pain and that suffering has been pressurizing you into this superhuman you, then you will take that as a badge of honor, like those veterans having breakfast this morning who are actually going to die, thank God, thinking that they truly were serving a country that loved them. And I'm happy for that, because no one needs to burst that bubble. Let us allow that to rest in peace, and let us be grateful for what they were trying to accomplish, just like what you are trying to accomplish for your family right now, wherever you live on the planet. You are doing the best you can with what you have and who you are. And so if you're going to look in the mirror today, this would be the best day to do mirror work, because you can reflect on your darkest parts that are still left in the shadows, and you can call in your greatest potential of yourself. in all of your glory, and you can have them merge together. And you can say, today is the day that I take my power back, that I stand in the light, even with the darkness. This is the day that I embrace all of me. Remember, the alchemist is all of me. To alchemize something, it will require both your dark and your light. You're going to work in union together. Your dark is not going to stay in an evil, distorted, unhealthy, addictive place once it's looked at with love. Everything chemically changes when light goes on them. The tiniest little tea light can reflect a dark room. So if you can look at the darkest points of yourself today with compassion, with understanding, if you could go, yeah, that happened to me, or I did that, or I witnessed that, and that has haunted me, and that has held me back. But how could I look at that through the eyes of, like, that's what's going to create my superhuman power? Because I always go back to the Superman getting bit by the spider. I mean, that is literally kind of what happened to me with the bees that I drove through during my 7th month of pregnancy, and basically had a huge rapid spiritual awakening by getting stung by like thousands of bees while I was 7 months pregnant. So I was in a superhuman state of hormones, and then I had super adrenaline going through me, and then all I saw was ones and zeros for 2 years. So it can happen like that. Your Spider-Man can happen like that, but it might be the bite of a spider. It might be the death of a parent. It might be the loss of a relationship. It might be a bankruptcy. It might be a disease, but whatever it is, it's for you. What are you going to do with it? So take the worst possible thing that is occurring in your life right now and look at that like your initiation into the superhuman you. Because one thing we have to understand is that the scripture, although there's a lot missing on purpose, we're going to look at it like the Goonies treasure map. Like, that's burnt over there, that's missing, that's not even something Jesus said, but we're gonna make it work, and we're gonna decode the scripture, and we're gonna look and see what the words mean, and we're gonna take the parables, because we knew that Jesus and the disciples spoke to us in parables because you needed to have ears to hear and eyes to see. It wasn't for everyone. It was for those who were ready. It was for those who were ready to follow, to be in that image. Jesus is our greatest mascot because he was showing us what was possible, and even said, you will do greater than I. So what does that mean? Are we supposed to pray to our brother or learn from, remember who we are, made in the same image with that pure blood that we have come in with? That means that part of us could be sinning while part of us stays in the state of innocence. You realize your spirit stays in a state of innocence no matter what your body is going through. And your body can be understood and cleared and forgiven and dealt with in compassion because it takes the burden of all of your life experiences. It's the one that sat with your trauma while you checked out. It's the one that stays at that club when you're blacked out. It's the one that has to stay in that argument when you are mentally somewhere else. And so remember, your body is going to be the one that's going to hold all this baggage, and the body is going to be the score. Right now, the body, the health of your body, the state of your body, the level of joy you can create, the happiness you can bring to the world, the generosity that you can be of service to, the understanding of those who speak different religions than you and look different than you. Can you understand those things with grace? Because this is the marker of your truth. I don't care what your spiritual knowledge is. I care what your example is. And who your example is going to be the mark that you leave today that is going to decide what timeline you're on. Because there are so many people out there that believe that they have a good heart and they have an intelligent spiritual mind, and somehow that is going to equal the golden ticket to the Willy Wonka factory. It is going to be your behavior that is being watched right now. and the behavior of not just who you are with your friends, but who you are to the dog, and who are you to the rude server, and who are you to the custodian at your kid's school, and who are you to your kid when they're not following orders, and who are you to your own body. This is what is going to be the mark of your character, not what you believe you are. Because your conscious mind believes it is the hero of the story, and yet the subconscious mind is like, you didn't even brush your teeth today, right? So it's like, who are you? And you're going to have this face-off energy. So it's not going to just be today. Today is the beginning. Today is the start of the pressurization, which means you're going to walk around the corner and you're going to meet your darkness. You're going to walk around the corner in your darkness and you're going to meet your light over and over and over again, like the movie Groundhog Day, until you go, oh, I am that I am. I am the Alpha and the Omega. Oh, I am the beginning and the end. I am the wish and the genie. I am the problem and the solution. Because no one's coming to save us. No one. And God love you, Christians, like Jesus is going to come off a white horse. And if you look at your own body, the scripture, right? The Kundalini energy, the pineal gland, it's all there. The 33 vertebrae, it's all there within the body. The kingdom of heaven is within. Be still and know. Okay, so this is the day where you really want to be still. And we don't want to take score. We want to take stock. We don't want to take score of where we've been and what people have done. We want to be like, okay, let's look at the aftermath. What am I now? Who am I because? What have I learned? What has gotten so easy? My relationship with pain is different. My relationship with suffering is different. It's like there's almost like a certain amount of suffering that a human can take before it's not even suffering anymore. And there's only a certain amount of pain that can happen to a human before they turn it into something else, because we are artists and creators, and all music has come out of transformed pain or transformed love. So we can learn our lessons through sound, which is where we're going tomorrow in tomorrow's Jedi Mind hack, because tomorrow I'm going to explain to you how you are being controlled by the queen bee through pheromones and sound waves. Because I've been telling you guys, hinting this in other sessions about, the 13 levels of hypnosis that you're under in the matrix. But ultimately, where your power sits today is enter reflection and looking for understanding, not understanding. You're not under someone. And being with, what do I really believe about me? So yes, you could be a conspiracy theorist, which is not even a conspiracy at this point. But what I want you to measure is not what's happening out there, but measure how it's affecting you. If all that is true, what does that mean for you? If all that is actually happening, what does that mean for you? Because if you understand manifestation at all, you are the center of the universe. And so you are the I that creates through. So it doesn't matter what you want. It just matters who you are in the story of want. Who are you in the story of need? Who are you in the story of have? Because ultimately what you can manifest is what you are in alignment with. And that sounds like, why would I need to manifest something that I already have? It's not a have, it's a be. You do not need to have something in your hand. You just need to be the frequency of it. And there's that word be again. Okay, there she is again, the queen bee. Okay, and if you look at through your heart and go through your own life review, today's a great day for that. Go sit under a tree. The tree will give you some love while you're going through this, or go outside and be with nature and she'll hold space for you. Really ground into the crystal grid of the earth. Don't ground into the world, because the world, you guys, is not the earth. If you look at the scripture, it says the children of God have dominion over the earth, not the world. The world is the system. We do not have dominion over the world. We have dominion over the earth. And we as humans are part of the earth, which means I have dominion over me, and I have dominion over the earth, which is who she is, which is her earth and her elements. But I do not have dominion over the system. But because I have dominion over me, I can say no thank you to the system. I can say polite pass to the world. And I highly recommend that you sit with what is the difference between the earth and the world today. What is the difference between who I was and who I can be today? Because today is going to be the marker or your beginning of the next reality show that is going to be unfolding. Because the Americas has been the reality show for the rest of the world. Why do you think the rest of the world needed to learn English? We don't need to learn Japanese. Okay, but everywhere I have traveled and I've been around this world, they all speak English. I won't say all of them, but the ones that I needed to talk to, the ones that I needed to see, they all spoke English. Don't you think that's interesting? I do. Especially if you look at the experiment that is underway. Now, the experiment is pretty much over because they only had 100 years. And who's making this agreement, right? Well, you got to go back to the stories of Babylon and the Tower of Babylon to understand that, and that's going to be in the book of Genesis, I believe. Okay? But if we're going to look at the scripture and decode, I don't have dominion over the world. I'm not going to take a picket sign and go to a corporation where I have no rights. But I am going to go inside of me and make different thoughts and choices and emotions. Therefore, I'm going to act different. And that's going to change my vibration. It's going to put me on a different part of the world. Literally. You guys keep hearing about this new earth. You keep hearing about 5D. How do you get there? It's an inside job. You're going to actually vibrate your whole system into recalibrating a different frequency that no longer vibrates with control and no longer vibrates with suffering and no longer vibrates with separation. And so what would you need to be in order to vibrate on a higher timeline? You would have to be more like love. You would have to feel more love. You would have to give more love. You would have to share love. You would have to learn how to receive love. And I don't mean the kind of love where you're guilted and shamed and obligated and committed. I mean unconditional. I understand you. I accept you fully for what you believe. I will help you, right? I will love you as you are. I don't need you to change. This definition of love that hasn't been presented to us very much, except through the Christ words and a few other amazing ascended masters, such. So where we are, guys, is not hopeful little peasants hoping for a day off in manifestation land. We are powerful creator gods. We're architects, we're artists, we're chefs, we're designers, we're actors, we're directors, we're editors, we're writers. And I mean that energetically. And so every night I ask myself before I go to bed, what fruit have I bared? What did I create today? Because if we are not creating even a small part of ourselves, or creating a moment, or creating a joy, or creating a celebration, or creating a new idea being birthed with us, then we are going to sleep knowing that we're destroying something slowly but surely. The way your spirit looks down within you, remember, you're the avatar in the video game. And if your divine spirit can never hook in and actually merge with you, then what's the point of leaving you in the game? You'll notice you start attracting a lot of illnesses, a lot of sufferings, a lot of things going wrong in your life. And it's almost like someone's trying to kill your character. So if you feel like a lot of things are being destroyed, what that means is it's time to forget what you're trying to get out there, drop everything and reconnect. And reconnect to who you really are. And who you really are is an infinite creator being. It is a child of God. It is one who is here to love and share and shine and be and give and see and know, not to get and to hide and to talk and to judge and to be bitter, because that is going to put you on a whole nother timeline. And I'm telling you, I've seen the timelines that we all have to choose from. Yes, we get to create our own reality, guys. Yes. Ultimately, you are going to be living in your jail cell of whatever game you choose, right? Whatever cell you want to be in, if you're going to give your power away. If you're going to take your power back, well, then your box, your matrix that you build, especially on this 4 powerful energy day, then it can be whatever you want. And it can also be like, it can also have room to grow. You know, we all would want to build that starter home that we can add on to. And so that would be an expansive, that would be an extraordinary being, not an average, mediocre, fearful, contracted, traumatized, judgmental human. So we have a choice, okay? And that's what today is. It's like the scene in Ghostbusters, right? When they choose and perish, and it's like the big, marshmallow man starts coming at you. But this time it's choose what video game you want to play. Choose what avatar you're going to be. Because remember, the avatar is the one that gets put on the world that you are vibrating close at. So you will have your own reality, but you will also be part of a collective because you agreed to play in unity. That's what the Aquarian energy represents. It's like, okay, you guys all were the Lone Rangers in the last saga. Now, in this new saga, you're all going to learn how to play together. And you're all going to be a unique puzzle piece. And somehow, you're all going to fit together perfectly. Now, this game over here is going to be unity of love. And you're all going to fit together perfectly. Over here, you're all going to fit together by the alphabet order of your last name. And you're going to be prison cell mates. Right? And so you're going to be next to whoever's last name is your last name, and it's going to be whatever kingdom you're in over there. Okay? Because you're kings and queens, you have territory and dominion. You guys got to go read your scripture, and you got to unpack it like a treasure map. And then be like, oh, okay, the kingdom of heaven is within me. I've got to change from the inside. We all go through hell. We all agree to come into this version of the game so we can understand contrast and even make a choice from a place of absence, from a place of darkness. We choose the light. We become the light. We know we are the light when we are in those darkest places. Okay? So today is the day where you go, time to get real with me. Because the collective that you're going to find yourself in, let's fast forward 1 year from today. You will be on a different earth. You will be with people, places, and things that are vibrating to who you're vibrating as. Okay? So if you go, I'm going to quantum leap this, and I'm going to drop all this baggage, and I'm going to lighten up, then this time next year, you're going to be on an earth, not a world, that has expansion and connection and understanding. It's almost like all the things I'm asking for you guys to really become within is who you're looking for out there. Have compassion for yourself. Don't you want your partner to have compassion for you? Understand your darkness. Don't you want your partner to understand your darkness? To forgive yourself. Don't you want to be forgiven from your partners? So however you want to be treated out there is how you treat this. And you treat this like it is the most important thing that God gave you, because he said, this is your first kingdom. Do well with this. And then from this, you're a 3D printer. So you'll be able to print the kingdom. You'll be able to print the territory. You'll be able to trigger and open up your prosperity from your chakras, because your prosperity chakra is your earth chakra turned on and your star chakra turned on. Which means that if you look at the color blue and red and the symbology of red, white, and blue in the Americas, and then you look at a cop car, right? It's like, okay, red means stop, right? And then blue means truth. So it's almost like it's in this opposition. And then we've got the political parties that are in opposition of each other. So it's like the entire America is dark and light facing off. Okay. And here we are celebrating our Independence Day, and none of us are free. So, as we continue to awaken from the illusion, we don't want to get upset and we don't want to spend too much time looking at it. We want to go, okay, that's not a world I want to live in. Those movies are not what, those actors are not what I'm striving for. I want to create influence and an example, not celebrityism and fame that comes with a whole other thing out there. Because ultimately, you all have families. And so, what kind of earth do you want to see in 3 generations? It starts with you. A lot of you were born into families to end the bloodline curse, to end the poverty consciousness, to end the abuse, to end the alcoholism, to end the drug, to end the narcissism. And so if you notice that you are so different than your families and your parents, it was because you came to stop that line and be the light and be the love and be the choice. Because they've all had choices, but it's just really easy to take on those familiar spirits of addiction and abuse and suffering. Because a child of God is never here to suffer. A child of God is never here to think badly of another human. A child of God came here for variety and contrast and connection of different types of light in order to be unique. Yeah, you come into the world and they think, oh, you don't look exactly like everyone else. You're weird and different. Now, weird is the new normal. Because the weirder we are, the more of a glitch we can create, and the more we get people to look at what they are not looking at in their own mirror. And that glitch starts to change and radiate through the timelines, because anything you do in your reality is going to affect all of your timelines because you're connected by blood. So you change the blood frequency of your own bloodline, your own ancestry, it changes just like roots of a tree system. So you are here to clean up. You are here on a reconnaissance mission. You are here to be the light. You are here to be salty, right? And purify. You're here to build a new world. You're here to be extraordinary. You're here to love unconditionally. And yeah, it goes very much against what you are taught. But that's part of the challenge. You think God will want to come down here and have it so easy that it's boring? Say, okay, tie 2 hands behind my back. We still got this. And today is the day where you can really look at the box you're sitting in. You can face off with your own darkness and you can face off with your own light. And you can merge into oneness with yourself. And you can be on a completely different timeline when you wake up tomorrow. So that is my Jedi mindset for the day. And I will be speaking to you guys tomorrow about a topic that I really love, which is all about the hive mind bee energy and how to actually be your own queen bee in your life and be able to use sound technology, use pheromone or sensation of smell technology in order to break the 13 levels of hypnosis like that. So stay tuned and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great 11/11 Gateway Day. See you. Bye.